in the shadows of the mind where secrets hide. We dive into the dark where truth collides. Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead. Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger, or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Echoes of the past in every crime.
All right, everybody. I hope that you guys are all doing very, very well. I'm doing great, except everything got disrupted because of the huge network outage. Yeah. Oh, good. Good to see you, Kelly. Yeah, except for the network outage that, disrupted everybody, everyone. No one could work today. Nobody could buy stuff. It's been a mess, right? Okay, just kidding a little bit. Now, look, I'm disturbed. Okay. I'm a bit disturbed by this whole Lauren Matthias, the stalking, the very public, argument and discourse, and it is here. So I try not to come up with my own opinion until I something happens that I feel like is a pretty good indication of something, I was absolutely wrong about Brittany J. I stood up for her or with her, and it was a leap of faith on my part. I abandoned my own principles. And so when I did finally get fact, when I did finally get it, I was like, ooh, I have made a terrible error in judgment. And so, I don't want to do that again. So please don't try to guess or say that I'm siding with Lauren or that I'm siding with the other girl, the Christina, Lindsay, Lori Hellis. There's somebody else I'm leaving out. Another Lori, I think. Because I'm not doing that. Because I'm not well, I'll tell you who I side with. I side with Dr. John. And I've already done a video that talked about the reality, the facts related to Dr. John, and that I was, in fact, disturbed by the way that Christina presented her information on Dr. John. And I played that yesterday. And if you didn't see the live from yesterday, go back and watch it, because it will describe everything I'm talking about. So it was clear that Christina they just posted a press conference on Lena Khalil, who disappeared from San Antonio. Wow, Kathy. I wonder if that's why my husband's calling me. That would be. Let me see, make sure. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I'll have to look. I don't know what that is about. Okay. So, um, so I'm not choosing one side over another. I'm really just giving, I guess, my impression, but overall talking about this trend. You know what I mean? And when I talk about the trend, it's twofold. I'm talking about the trend of what is called mobbing or gang stalking or harassment. I mean, there's all kinds of different names for it, right? I'm talking about that trend that I think the more that private citizens make these YouTube channels and they address these very public stories in the news, they attract attention, and whether you like it or not, you might find yourself in the crosshairs. There are a lot of people in this channel that go way back years, from the start of my channel, and I attracted the attention of a person, a young woman who, in my opinion, was not well, and I was pretty blown away because I really didn't know how to handle it. I was new at all this, and I didn't really know much about it. And she ended up, what I believe, my opinion, manipulated a man. And so they paired up together. He was very accomplished, like with computers and technology and stuff. They paired up together, and they started putting out these bizarre, commentary videos where they would just play my lives, and then they can, like, you can tear down anything anyone says. Like, you can take one thing that is just a normal, innocent little comment, and you can manipulate it and turn it around and make it sound ominous and bad, right? Yeah. So Zelda was there. Cinnamon was there. Cinnamon was you kind of came out of that same channel where so many unwell people were attracted, right? But this young woman was incredibly disturbed, evidenced by, let me be clear that I'm not saying that from my perspective, evidenced by lives that she would go live late at night and just sob and she had these very odd thoughts. Like, I mean, when I say she was disturbed, she demonstrated some difficult issues, and it was disturbing enough that I ended up hiring some people to help me. One group was what are they called, white hat hackers. And basically what white hat hackers, what they do is they legally find and document these communications and these actions, and they document them in such a way that they become admissible to the court as evidence. I learned during that period of time, you can't just record a live and say, oh, look, here's my truth. Here's the truth. You can see they're saying these things or they're doing these things. Oh, look, there's the username. There's the channel URL. It can't be changed. Oh, hell yes, it can. Stop. Of course he can, because you guys in the drama community, you do it to people all the time. So I paid not for the attorneys, but for this company who worked for the attorneys $15,000, and their job was to watch these people and do the proper and appropriate documentation to actually prove not what was just visible on the front screen, but in truth, according to the internet programmer speak, they could actually show exactly where it was, where the people were, and route them back through, so that it could all be admissible in a court of law, because it reached that point. The reason that I ended up hiring the attorneys, and then paid the money for this internet thing, is because they were following me around Houston, right? So, oh yeah, it was a nut. It was crazy, Zelda. It was not good. But anyway, so when it became clear that not only were they were calling these big, I don't want to bring stuff back up again because it's too much trouble. They were making it. They basically crawled up into my life, my real life, business type of life, and I knew that they had started following me. It was a lady out of Galveston, the island. It's a lady out of Galveston. The reason that I knew that they were following me is because I was not listed intentionally, purposefully. I'm not listed anywhere on this company's website. No one could connect me to their company, right? It can't, the breadcrumbs are not there. And so when people came online and they started talking about me doing that work and working with that organization, I was like, well, you sons of bitches, you weird, creepy people. Why do you even care? It wasn't like a big secret CIA. It was nothing like that. It's just a normal, regular job. But I have business reasons not to have my name associated with many, many different companies, even though I may have contracts to do that work. I don't want anybody to assume that I'm a salaried employee with certain organizations. So, so when that happened, then I started watching. I started being careful and seeing. Now, it is crazy people sentiment. It's people that are just, right? They're just not okay. Anyway, so I started watching and paying attention, and then I knew, I am being followed. And you know what, Brittany J? I didn't melt down and become terrified. Oh my God, they're driving by my house. Okay, Brittany, I get 30 cars driving by my house a day. I don't care. You guys can all go park outside of my house on my road if you want to and look up at my house. It's public. You can see my front yard. You can see the front of my house. If I'm going to be in my bathroom that faces the front, like the road out front, I'm going to make sure that my curtains are pulled before I get naked and get in the shower. Okay. So I don't care if you drive down my road. Come look. I don't care. We have a beautiful yard. My husband does a beautiful, beautiful gardening work. So we have a great yard. I'm proud of my little teeny tiny house. Look all you want. I don't care. In fact, you want to know something? At Christmas, we put out lots and lots of pretty lights. Why? To invite people to come look at our house. So come look. I don't care. You're not bothering me if you're looking at my stuff. And Brittany J, why do you act like people driving by your house is so frightening? It's so scary. Oh my God, Nick had a black truck drive by his house. It's so scary. It's so scary. Excuse me. I bet you this week alone, I bet there have been at least 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I bet you anything there's been 18 clips on my security system of a big black truck driving in front of my house. What? It's scary because it was a black truck? No, you guys are being ridiculous. It's not scary if somebody drives by your house. It's not, who do you think you are? Do you think you're like the president of the United States and you live in a compound? People drive by your house. Who cares? I didn't even care that people were following me around. That didn't even weird me out. I thought it was weird. I thought it was a little pathetic. I found it a little bit amusing. My husband and I had a lot of fun joking about, being a part of the rich and famous, right? He asked me one time, he said, are you going to have, what was it? Champagne nights and caviar dreams. Y'all remember that show where the guy used to follow the celebrities around? We had a great time pretending and playing. So what? Follow me. I don't care. Okay. So I don't believe all your bullshit about how you're so frightened because somebody's driving by your house. You are inventing drama. You are using emotional manipulation of your subscribers for something that is categorically not a problem. You want to know this? Here, fly drones over my house. What are you going to see? Do you have like X-ray cameras where you can see into my house through the roof? I don't think so. Okay. So fly drones around, fly them over my house. What are you going to see? My backyard is the ocean. So there's boats out there. People fish out there. You can look at my backyard. It's basically a public area. I have no reasonable belief that I am private when I go in my backyard. There are sailboats, there's commercial fishermen. No, I have no reasonable expectation of privacy in my backyard. It's open so that I can see the ocean and I can see the sunrise. And, if you want to be a weird person and come and stare at the back of my house, okay, good. I'm not going to be doing anything that I'm going to be freaked out about. And I don't even care if there's drones overhead. We have a great security system. We have tons of cameras everywhere. We have firearms that we practice shooting all the time for fun. And I don't live a life of fear. I'm good. Don't have any trouble with that. So that I think though, I think that's different than what we're hearing about Lauren Matthias, because number one, her husband was targeted. They intentionally lied about him. They intentionally misled about him, trying to undermine his professional reputation. And what that says to me, maybe Christina's full of it. Do you know what I mean? Maybe she's full of it. I don't know. I don't know these people. I do watch when Dr. John is going to talk about one of these crimes or one of these people that we know about. But I don't really watch it when it's just Lauren. Sometimes I do if I'm interested in the topic, but yeah, I think she's just a regular YouTuber. I think she's just like everybody else. And I thought it was really strange that Christina misrepresented John. That's what I think that we should take that into consideration. If Lauren was as bad as they claim, then what's the need to have to undermine Dr. Matthias? Right? If you understand, if that makes sense to you, put a 1 in the chat. If Lauren really did all these horrible, terrible things to so many different people, why are we undermining John Matthias? Right? It doesn't seem like if the things that you are saying about Lauren or the things you're going to be saying about Lauren are accurate and truthful, why would you even need to try and ruin his credibility, especially when he is actually quite accomplished, right? So right there, that moment that I heard that, when I saw that, a little voice in my head said, "Oh man, they're full of it. This didn't happen. This is not right." Now, could I be wrong? Sure. I could totally be wrong. But it was enough that it got me interested. I never would have been interested in the story until I saw them slandering John Matthias. And then I was like, that's kind of interesting, right? So I went and listened. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So this is obviously Duty Ron. And because of what I wanted to talk about, it would be way too much to go to Lauren's 9-hour live and Nonsense's commentary and Duty Ron's video. That would be a lot of clips and jumping back and forth. It would also depend on doing an edited type of video to do it. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to play Nonsense, her commentary, because it's got all three and it allows me to do that. So, please post Nonsense. Please post the link to this video. Hold on, copy, and I'll put it in the comments here. Paste. All right, there's comments. Okay, so mods, if you'll just kind of occasionally post that up so people can find this video and find Nonsense's channel, I would appreciate that. Yeah, Duty Ron's great. And one of the reasons that I wanted to comment on Duty Ron is this. Duty Ron had a brush. That's what I'm going to call it, Ron. I'm going to call it a brush. Duty Ron had a brush with my creepy stalker. Okay. And because she and her boyfriend were being insidious and they were trying to crawl into every little crevice of my online life and not online life, my real life too. She apparently reached out to him and basically just told him a bunch of BS, right? And at the time, so when Duty Ron first showed up on the scene, had a small channel, I promoted him in my channel, right? He came in, we had a good time talking. I was a member of his channel. And then, he grew by leaps and bounds, which is amazing. And, I was really happy for him. But she was manipulative, and she was a part of the channel when, I told everybody, here's a new creator. He's a retired New York City detective. Go over, subscribe. And so my stalker was there for all of that. And that's the only reason I can think of that she would have reached out to him to try to stir the pot. But she did. She reached out to him, tried to slander me toward him and whatnot. So I was kind of weirded out by this time, right? Like they had called the IRS. The information that the hackers were getting was really disturbing because I was like, they're literally calling the IRS. They're literally looking for my company. And they were like, they certainly are. And they have no idea how much legal jeopardy they're in right now. So as I learned the facts about what was happening behind the scenes, I was very worried. Like I just couldn't imagine where this was going to end up, right? It's something so weird and foreign, and I live such a boring life. Like there is no controversy in my life. Like it's, knock on wood. And so it was just really strange, to be at the center of this weird thing. And I think I noticed it with Duty Ron. I have no paranoia. I don't live that kind of lifestyle or anything. And when I got the email from Duty Ron, I felt paranoid. I felt like, is he trying to get information from me? Is he with them? Is he like aligning against me? It was so crazy. And so even though he reached out to me in a very respectful way, let me be very clear. I believe now, today, as I stand, he was reaching out in a friendly manner, right? Like he knew, Jules needs to know what's happening here because this is not right. But he and I don't talk. We didn't talk then. Okay, it's back. That was weird. That was so weird. No, I wasn't muted. I disconnected. If you can hear me now, put a 1. Yeah, agree, Miss Lori. Totally agree. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good to see you, Melissa. Okay, so I shut down, right? So when Duty Ron and I had a couple of emails back and forth, I got paranoid and I said, are they trying to like trick me? Are they trying to like get me to respond by email? Are they like what? And I'm horrified now at that. I'm really, but it shows you I'm a very happy-go-lucky person, and I don't get weirded out I just go through my life living my best life. It really got to me. It got to me as the people came back and they were showing me the conversations that were happening, what this crazy girl they thought was like private. I was being shown what they were talking about related to me and to my husband, never anything about my kids. But it got weird for me. It got really weird really quick. And so I more or less, just said to Duty Ron, thank you for letting me know. And I just, I just don't want any trouble or anything like that. And that was that. It was left. He was incredibly polite and respectful, and everything was, went away and it was no problem. So I do understand Lauren Matthias's perspective. I understand the tears and the dismay that is in her voice as she's going, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. When I ask them, what did I do to you? Nobody's telling me. They just say, you know, which is the tool of a gaslighter, right? They're just messing with her head, right? I think. And so I really wanted to comment on this because I don't know who's in the right or who's in the wrong. I don't have any of that information. But I know what it did for me, how it undermined my confidence, and it even like created a little bit of paranoia for me. And I was taking steps to really protect myself in a meaningful way, spent a great deal of money, which is why I laugh when Brittany J says, you know, oh, $8,000, it's a one-time fee, and he's going to, you know, have 20 lawsuits. And I'm just laughing my ass off. I'm going, girl, $35,000 didn't even get us into the courtroom. So if you think you're going to do this with $8,000, that is not accurate. So I don't believe Brittany J at all. She is bought into this drama and she is loving it, and it is getting her views. So that, you know, she's using it for emotional manipulation to get money from the subscribers that still believe in her. And, you know, I don't think that's what Lauren is doing. When I watch her 9-hour live, she's really distraught. She's really, really distraught. And I do know there's a lot of reasons that a person could be distraught, but if she's hiding from wrongdoing, she sure is doing it in a very public way, right? So to me, they're stirring up trouble and saying, hey, Dr. John, fix this. Who is the they, Kathy? When you say they are stirring up trouble, you talking about the like Christina, Lindsay, Lori? Is that who you're talking about as stirring up the trouble? Okay. I don't know if I'm talking about BJ. Oh no, it's no, Brittany, listen. She does not want this to go away. She does not want Jay and Clue, and she does not want these people to stop covering her. She does not. Make no mistake about it. And you know, the truth is, if they did stop, her channel would die out. That is true. Look how many thumbs up she gets. Go watch a live. She'll have like 2,000, 3,000 views and 10 thumbs up. What does that tell you? All right. So you got to be really, yeah. Okay. And then magically overnight, there'll be 300 thumbs up show up, but you can buy that, right? You can buy views and you can buy thumbs up, things like that. So, so let's go ahead and start listening. And, you know, I felt like I needed to sort of give that background and history for some people who, you know, were not here through the earlier stuff. And, you know, yeah, I have a lot of faith in Duty Ron. I do. I have a lot of faith in him. I don't know the other guy, Ed Wallace. I know he's always on his show, but I have a lot of faith in Duty Ron. I think he is an honest person, that he is authentic, and he's not presenting himself in a way to just make himself look good. I do believe that he is a good guy. So, so this whole live thing was very interesting. All right, so here we go.
Let's go.
Good evening.
All I ask of you guys, you can have respectful conversations back and forth in the chat. As you know, you guys can ask all the questions. I probably won't have the answers, but feel free. Mr. Tomato Head, you're not going to get blocked here. Raven, you guys ask the questions, take part in the discussion as long as you guys are considerate to each other You don't have to even like each other, or like, just don't go. You know how it goes. I don't think we'll have any.
Blonde PT says, I believe Lauren is getting ahead of this by sharing with YouTube because she is afraid of the private messages getting out. Her reputation means everything to her. She did say that she gave her phone to Grayson to go through any text messages to see what it was. If that's true, and I don't think I have any reason not to believe that, if that's true, I don't know if I would hand my phone over to someone and say, go through all my text messages. I don't remember saying anything snarky or mean to anyone, but maybe there would be information that might be something personal. Like maybe I had a disagreement with my husband, or, so the fact that both of them, Grayson and Lauren, both said that she had Lauren's phone, she went through all the, what was it, 6 years of text messaging. I mean, that's 6 years. There you go. Thank you, Tiff. That's a big deal, right? Am I wrong about that? What is that? The only one that feels how inappropriate her relationship is with that. Wait, what is this? Am I the only one that feels how inappropriate her relationship is with that kid talk about a lack of professional boundaries, and Dr. John is going to leave a medicated 22-year-old to watch Lauren? What medicated 22-year-old? What does that mean, Cinnamon? "22-year-old to babysit Lauren." Are you talking about, is Grayson 22? Is she that young? I don't know what you're talking about, Cinnamon. I'm sorry. Grayson said she is on antidepressants now. She must have trust in Grayson. I agree. And Grayson was there. They went through it together, I think. I guess it doesn't pay as well or provide enough dopamine. I don't know. So it didn't look like to me that Lauren was getting any dopamine. I do think Brittany J has demonstrated dopamine in a big way. We can talk about that another day. Okay. All right. So you were just making comment that Dr. John left Lauren in the care of a 22-year-old, I guess. She 22 had to get on psych meds because of the situation. Dr. John left her in charge of babysitting Lauren. What would any of that have to do with Lauren being stalked? Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, Kat, like that would be the aftermath. Like I said, I got paranoid, and so I didn't really want to have an honest conversation. I remember with Duty Ron, we were emailing. I didn't even want to email, but we were emailing, and then he said, if you want to call me on the phone, I'd love to talk with you and kind of work through this. And I was just like, no, not because of Duty Ron, because he's a great guy, but because I was paranoid. I was afraid that if I got on the phone with Duty Ron and he was friends with her, then they would record the call. You see how nuts that is? It's crazy. And yet, when I was in it, when I was actually living it, part of me was like, you're being way too weird about this. But then the other part of me was like, no, I need to be careful, right? So there was a little bit of paranoia that I really wouldn't even get on the phone. Now, would I talk to Duty Ron today on the phone? Sure, because I think over the years watching him and stuff, he's really proven that he really was doing the right thing. He really did tell this young woman, "Hey, you're doing wrong. What you're doing, you need to stop and leave, Jules alone." I do believe all that. But I was weird. It was very strange to have people watching every move I was making and making videos about it. It was very, very odd. Let's see. The one who is supposedly stalking her thinks that Chris Watts is innocent. No, I don't think so, Alan. It is not Lana. Now, Lana might be in some of the stories. My understanding is that the stalker is someone named Lindsay. Yeah, but Lana still today will tell you that Chris Watts is innocent, that Shanann did it, and then he killed Shanann because he was so upset about the kids. Yeah, it's crazy, great story. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to play this.
Problems per usual, but feel free because I have the same questions you guys do.
Friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with Duty Ron and Ed Wallace. You guys know the drill. We're retired.
And mods, if you need me, of course, let me know. I'll be flipping back and forth because I do have a few other things I want to inlay in this tonight too as we go. But if you need me, let me know.
New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things truthification, Bell.
Well, intro because again, this is become a case of public opinion versus an actual court case.
Upload another video.
Agreed.
Hey, tonight we want to talk about a subject that is very, very, it's a very dangerous topic. And we want to touch on this topic because...
Clint, did you happen to grab a screen recording of the trailer? That is something I forgot to do. I wish I would have done that because that was so dramatic, because what he had was talking about Lauren's case, and then he had horrific cases of stalking that led to murder. And that happens. Like, it is very, very extreme when they're misusing the words and the terms that they are. Especially.
Okay. Nonsense, I think, sees herself as like a social justice warrior. And she thinks that doing a court case or whatever related to what we know so far about the facts of all this, that it was a misuse of the justice system. I mean, she says this later on in the live, right? So I do think that stalking is dangerous because people that stalk are really activated, right? They have a lot of energy and they're ignoring their own lives to go try to get in someone else's life. So it's weird. You got to think about the motivation of it. Why would someone be willing to sit in their car all day and drive around behind me watching where I was going? Like, why would anybody even want to do that? I live an incredibly uninteresting life. And my guess would be that Lauren kind of felt the same way. Why did these people even care about me? I said, I don't want to work with you anymore, but you're not without a job. You have other creators you work with. Fine. I shouldn't have said that this other person was annoying, and she apologized. So yeah, but make no mistake about it. There are stalking cases, and we do know this for, now this is specific to family, domestic violence. An ex-husband or an ex-wife who is following their ex-spouse or their spouse they're at a dramatically increased risk of murder. I bring that up for this reason, not because someone was married to Lauren and now they were stalking her. It was a different situation. It was an ex-friend, if you will. The reason I bring it up, though, is because it demonstrates the dynamics, what's happening up here in the head of the person that has gotten obsessed, is that they're ignoring their own personal lifestyle in favor of trying to get something on the other person. I'm so angry with that person, I want to make them uncomfortable. I'm going to make sure they see me following them around because that is a form of control. That's a form of power. And I don't mind telling you, it is a disconcerting feeling to look up and see somebody with their phone up taking your picture from across the road. It's weird. Now, you don't melt down into a puddle, right? You're just like, oh my God, get a life. You're so crazy. But it is incredibly weird. And so I get that part of it, but if a spouse or an ex-spouse will follow their spouse after divorce or when they've broken up or whatever, then we know the statistics from several different projects are sitting anywhere between about 50 and about 62, 68% increased risk of assault and death. People, it gets weird. It gets really, really weird. I had a very eye-opening experience when it came to my talking about the white hat hackers, that whole period of time. That was when I came to know that I got to be careful how to say this. Okay. When I went to the Barry Morphew preliminary hearing, the FBI agent is up on the stand and he's being questioned. And he's saying what Barry said, like he's recounting a conversation that he had with Barry during like one of the interviews. And the story that Barry said, I was like, okay, shit, he's watching my channel. Because I remembered perfectly the exact live where that conversation had taken place. And the person that was, in fact, I think Gonzo was also in that live, but AK and Gonzo, and there were a couple other people, and we had this conversation. So I'm sure that that's how Barry ended up knowing about my channel, was because of AK and Gonzo, because they were a big part of the search for Suzanne and all that. But to sit in a courtroom and hear that the guy has been watching my channel, right? I was really weirded out. And when that happened, then I remembered some things from the attorney, the investigators, that I believe that it was probably Barry. It was something else. I can't really say what it was, but it was, they were asking me if that could be Emily. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, that would be really weird if it was. I can't see that would be. And I just sort of discounted it at the time as something kind of odd. And then I went to the preliminary hearing. I heard the conversation. I came to the realization that he was watching my channel. And then I realized something happened in Colorado. So, so that was a weird feeling. That was a overwhelming sensation to realize it's not just people interested in true crime that are watching us. the criminals are watching us. Make no mistake about it. They are absolutely watching. So that was pretty life-changing for me in terms of what I do online. And it's one of the reasons why I don't get people's phone numbers. I don't give my phone number. I don't have private conversations with people. If I'm going to have a conversation, it's an open chat. Everybody can see what I've said or not. So,
especially for people in the true crime arena, like that is, this is where professionals and people who were one-time law enforcement or have connections to law enforcement and professionals like mental health professionals and journalists, when they stop doing that and come to YouTube, people still see them as experts in certain arenas. And these experts overlook major red flags, and that's concerning to me.
You're wrong about that nonsense. That is a blanket statement that you just made, and it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate. She's saying that both of these men were New York City detectives. That's huge, right? They're both New York City detectives. And I know that Duty Ron is retired. I don't know if Ed Wallace is, yeah, it says retired, New York PD. Okay, so they're both retired. Do you believe that they leave their ethics at the door when they retire? They have a lifetime of identity as detectives. They're not going to leave that at the door in favor of a friend. They're not going to do that. I'm telling you. I didn't. I could have easily just kept my mouth shut about Brittany. I could have just kept my mouth shut and said nothing after I heard the clip of the things that she said about Cluminati's child. I didn't, because I had an awareness that I was almost like putting a seal of approval on what she had done. And I was like, no, I cannot. People need to know that I'm 100% against what she did to Cluminati, and that there's no doubt in my mind that Brittany threw the first stone at Cluminati, and that Cluminati and Cletus were 100% in the right to go after her, because she can't shut up. She cannot shut her mouth. And I kept thinking, why are you asking for this misery? Why are you begging them to make another hit piece on you? Why are you doing that? Be quiet. Focus on your topic. And then I realized, because this is her topic. She wants to be the victim. She wants to get that cash. But I don't think that's the case with Duty Ron and this other guy. No, I think if you spend 20, 30, 40 years being a detective, you do not leave your ethics at the door. No way.
Especially when they are leading the charge and telling a lot of these victim stories.
It involves a good friend of ours, hidden true crime, Lauren Matthias, and her family. Cyber stalking and bullying and the like online. We have touched on this in the past, Ed. We did live streams for a lot of other creators who have been experiencing this, but we know that it happens to the everyday Joe citizen. Everyday guys, gals get stalked and harassed online.
I don't know, Mercedes girl, about that situation. I'm not really sure.
On a regular basis. Doesn't matter if it's YouTube, doesn't matter if it's TikTok, whatever the platform. These actions have serious consequences sometimes, and sometimes people lose their lives based on the
comparisons he made, and especially in that trailer, were so displaced to what this is and what we have.
He's making a point. He's just making the point that people get obsessed, and it doesn't mean it doesn't matter if it was an ex-lover or if it's an ex-friend, or in my case, a total stranger. This girl was a total stranger. Her mom was a psychiatric nurse who then went into administration. Didn't know her. So no, that I don't think his trailer was trying to say that, Lauren was going to be killed by her ex-boyfriend. And that's what you're basically kind of saying here. No, I think the trailer is making the point that being stalked means that there's a person who has fallen into obsession with you. And that's what is dangerous. The obsession is what is dangerous.
Evidence at this point in time. Now, again, I will lead with, I do think something's going on. I don't know what it is, though. I don't know if she's having problems with other people, if she has some sort of internal conflict going on, mental health struggle. And I'm not trying to diminish this in any way, shape, or form, but something is absolutely going on because we are seeing emotional impact of the people around her too. So something is going on somewhere. I just think it's being displaced and misplaced. And it's muddy in the water so much that
I haven't seen Christina hurt. Like, I don't know. I don't understand what it is that Nonsense is referring to, that something is going on because you can see the effect on other people. I'm not sure what she's referring to there, but I have watched what I think is all that Christina has put out. She just seems incredibly smug and ominous. Like the way she talks, it's designed to create hesitation in Lauren. It's like suggesting, be careful, Lauren. You don't know what we know. And we know stuff. And when we're ready, we're coming for you. And she's like, what? What did I do? Tell me what it is that you're going to attack me with. At least give me an opportunity to answer for that. And they're just like, which is, this is typical narcissistic game playing. They love her fear. They love the confusion, which is why I think she gave the phone to Grayson, because she's saying, well, there must be something because they're telling me there is, and I can't remember. Will you please try to find it? I mean, so far, both sides, I don't know.
But I can't really sit back and be quiet.
Harassment, stalking, and the rhetoric that gets
weird.
Fired up in between the conversations on Twitter and Instagram and X, and stories get twisted, and people that are somewhat angry with the particular creator or person could now be pushed over onto the other side of that fence. And I want you to talk.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sick of that weaponization of mental health when they don't consider that oftentimes when we're talking about victims of horrific cases. And this is where this pisses me off, I'll be honest. The fact that these people cover horrendous, heinous crimes, and the comparison that they're trying to correlate here is such a slap in the face to some of the victims and the stories that they have covered. And that's why it feels so disingenuous.
A little bit about, what we're going to get into with our good friend Lauren from Hidden True Crime tonight. She's going to be joining us in a few minutes, Ed.
I also felt that set the stage right there. Our good friend Lauren. So you know where his loyalty lies. And that kind of was another way to garner and keep that loyalty. So if you support them, you're expected to support and get in line with her story. And they're weaponizing their subs. I'm sorry, it is. And it's emotional manipulation.
Whoops, I did that wrong.
They can be great friends, but that great friend relationship is obviously causing you bias.
Why do you think Lori Hellis made a live that she's now deleted, by the way? Why would Christina go to Lori Hellis and say, put this live out, be our buddy, be our friend? And I think the reason that she deleted the live is because she lost so many subscribers. I don't know. I just don't, you can't. I think it's dangerous business when you start saying that, a professional detective for decades is willing to just lie for a distant friend, not even a real friend, a virtual friend. I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. I think he probably, if he had reason or cause to distrust her. Maybe she did something to him at one time, or one of the subs said something to him about her behavior. Then I don't think he ever would have come out and said this. He came to me. So I think that I don't think he's denying his ethics and his morality for a woman he doesn't even really know. That doesn't ring true to me.
Where did you go? There you go. Go ahead, Ed.
I can't stand bullying of any kind, whether it's kids at school, online, cyberbullying, whatever you want to call it. I have no place for that in my stomach. I cannot stand that. Okay. And nothing gets me more riled up than when parents.
And one thing I did learn as listening to bits and pieces of this is Ed Wallace didn't really know anything about this situation. He was caught up by Duty Ron right before the show aired and shown things
Of children who are bullies start bullying children as well. But there's bullying and then there's stalking. Now, these are two different things, but you can do both and be both, okay, at the same time. But now you're getting into...
Again, they diminish the capacity of these terms
to...
doing what they're doing.
The world of Ron and I, and we're going to be giving you our perspectives as retired New York City detectives of how we had to deal with things like this in our careers, where women had to go and get orders of protection from our courts to help protect them from stalkers, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, okay, things of that nature. And remember, I always tell you, stay prepared, stay safe, and watch your six. And it's for a reason, okay? Even though you get these orders of protection, they're just paper.
Okay, and that's misleading because she does not have a current order of protection. She withdrew her order of protection. So all she got was a temporary order of protection right before CrimeCon. The timeline is very interesting of how that all went into play. This has only been going on for 6 months. These people had a relationship previously. They were contractors of hers that she had to work for her. There's a work relationship involved in this. There's so much muddying of the water here that when you try to separate out and get to the real story, it's really nothing. There's the actual stalker that they're calling a stalker.
Okay, you still have to take the appropriate protective actions for yourself and your family against these people. Now, when we were all kids, we can all remember this and relate.
Have a question. This idea that the stalker is not really a stalker. Okay. What would you call it if someone is angry with a boss and they get fired? And so they're out for revenge. And so they call business contacts of the boss to say, let me tell you what she said about you. What would you call that? Yeah, there's gossip, right? If you're going to put yourself on YouTube, you're making yourself Lauren did describe herself as a limited public figure. Is that true? If you have 300,000 subscribers, are you a limited public figure, or have you surpassed like some of the network TV shows? Let me get an accurate number here. Hold on. Okay, so so there's 321,000 subscribers, and her views are, this is true, 370,000 on one video. You know how much money that is? She's making bank. 51,000 views, 29,000 views, 27,000 views, 47,000, 46,000, 58,000, 55,000, 31,000, 175,000, 93,000, 49, 51, 48, 146,000, 43, 122,000. She's making moolah. Okay. The question is she a limited public figure? Or is she full-blown public? And I'm going to give you by comparison, okay? Hold on. So, I mean, you can't make this up. This is crazy. So ABC News on YouTube, they have 19 million subscribers. I don't believe that, but that's what they claim, okay? 19 million subscribers. But listen to these views. And remember what I just said about Lauren. 46,000, 75,000, 69,000, 27,000, 37,000, 24,000, 66,000. Are you really a limited public figure? You are not a limited public figure. You are squarely what you wanted to be, which is a reporter. And people are watching you. You as an individual, you and John, or Dr. John as a couple commenting, you guys are getting the same views as ABC News. Think about that. You're not a limited public figure. You are, in fact, public. All right. The crazy stalker called the university to see if Dr. Matthias was an actual doctor. I've already established all that. Yeah, Tiff, you're exactly right. And it's crazy, right? And I talked about that. Yeah, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? And it's that kind of fell on deaf ears to me, right? I thought, why are you legally trying to name yourself as a limited public figure when you literally are, you get exactly the same traffic consistently, night after night after night, as ABC News? Those people that work for ABC News, they have bodyguards. And they're getting the same views that Lauren and Dr. John are getting. So maybe this is a situation where their fame kind of outgrew their awareness, where you know who you are, right? You have this image, this personal identity that you are aware of. When you go through a big event, when something really big changes in your life, it takes a while for your internal view of self to catch up to the reality of what you're going through. Like we spent 2 years in my program. We spent 2 years adjusting to, okay, I have knowledge. If I were to want to manipulate someone, I have the knowledge to do that. My ethics and the law says I cannot do that. And therefore, I have to approach these types of situations with aloofness. I have to pull myself out of it and not be a part of it, right? From an ethical perspective. So, do I believe that Lauren and Dr. John just are not thinking about their level of fame? Do I believe that they're enjoying the money? They're making a ton of money. So they're enjoying that, but maybe They just never moved past, I'm a YouTube creator. And they really took ownership of, holy crap, we are getting the same number of people listening to us and looking at us that ABC News gets. That's crazy to think about, right? So maybe, perhaps, I mean, you know, I wouldn't, that would shock me if they were to say something like that. But I don't think you can go into a court of law and claim limited public figure. I think somebody who gets 5,000 views or 1,000 views, maybe has a couple thousand subscribers. I think we definitely can say we are absolutely limited public. No, most people would never, ever know who we were, even though, you know, we got all this stuff online. But I think Lauren has surpassed that for sure. I think she's way, way beyond that. And that is exactly true, St. Elmo. She started her professional life out as a true reporter, as the real deal, right? By one of the main, you know, she was a salaried reporter. So would she know the difference between a public figure and a limited public figure? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure she would. So, need to step up. Security, get a management company. They need a management company. Women's Warrior, they are so far now into this. They're going to have to do exactly what Stephanie Harlow did. This is not the first time this has happened to a YouTube creator. Stephanie Harlow had a bona fide, real deal stalker, the scary kind. And they ended up having to secretly buy a house in a completely different, like even a different state, hid the purchase of the house, you know, under a company, for safety, because the person was nuts. And so this is a common tale for some YouTubers who take off and their channel blows up. And they don't ever stop to think about what's the day-to-day reality of having a channel with 300, 400,000 subscribers. You got a problem. It's no longer fun and games. It's a problem. So, you know, that's probably realistically where they're going to end up. They're probably going to end up selling their property, selling their house, moving someplace unknown and starting over. And this time, you know, with some security and whatnot. So it's a crazy story. For sure.
When we were all kids in school, before the internet, okay, you had a bully at school. Well, there was a break from that bully after school was over and you went home typically, okay? And you had your core group of friends in your neighborhood and that's where you hung out and doing.
She does go on to say that she selected them. This is why I selected you. You selected them because they would give your story credibility, in my opinion, or you thought they would give you credibility because they are law enforcement officers or previous law enforcement officers. That is why you selected them, in my opinion.
Yes, you
nothing more, nothing less. And I've never.
Well, I do think it's true that birds of a feather flock together. And I think that, you know, I think Duty Ron he probably wouldn't call people friend if they were people that gave him pause, right? So I wouldn't necessarily disagree with what
seen somebody in fear for their life go on a press tour like this either. I just haven't. Withdraw the complaint from the courts, have no protection, and then do a press junket.
You are playing a very dangerous game. And a lot of what you're doing is criminal. And you have to be made aware of that your actions comes with consequences. Okay. I've locked up numerous people for violating.
AK, thank you again for the support.
Orders of protection in my career. Okay. And what I'm seeing here is very disturbing.
Yeah, it's troubling in many different ways, Ed. And, you know, we look at many public figures. We have politicians who have been killed in recent history.
Okay,
we had political figures like Charlie Kirk as well, shot.
Okay. What, Ed? Or not Ed. Duty Wrong. He's not a politician. He was a college debater on college campuses. Can we stop with that? He's not a politician.
Wait a
Yes,
minute.
he was in the political realm.
Wait a minute. Nonsense. What are you talking about? He had a direct phone line to the president of the United States. Of course he is. Oh my gosh. Of course he's in the political machine in a huge way, or he was in a huge influential way. I mean, look at the number of college students that voted for Donald Trump.
I wanted to host her because I told her, listen, we stand with you, because I have personally.
I'll tell you what I got out of the 9 hours: a headache. Sorry if you're new.
Okay, so Duty Ron just said he approached Lauren and said, I want to feature your story on my channel. He approached her. She didn't go and say, would y'all please help me? Would y'all please put this on your channel? So no, I don't think she was calculating. I think they're friends. I think they know each other from going to Crime Con or whatever. And I think Duty Ron said, hey, this is a important issue in the YouTube true crime field. It's an important issue. I experienced it as a nobody. I just happened to trigger a crazy person, and it was terrible, right? This was different. Lauren's, it was about someone she worked with. And I think there was some narcissistic, trouble there. And there's tons of others. Stephanie Harlow is one. There's a lot of people that have dealt with stalker or harassment type stuff.
But 9 hours. The one thing we didn't get was evidence, proof, court papers. We got fluff and filler and a bunch of names. There is one person that she claims is a stalker. It was a production. They admitted it. They didn't know how they were going to pull this off. They prepped for it for days. They had all the producer. Last night's stream was interesting if you want to go back and watch it.
Taken orders of protections out of people's pockets after they were killed.
Yeah.
I've responded to a domestic where a young woman had an order of protection against a friend, not even.
This is emotional manipulation because this has nothing to do with the story he's about to tell. And again, I'm sorry. Yes, these situations are.
He's explaining why he wanted to feature Lauren as this story, because he has seen the results of people that get obsessed and they're stalking. It does have it has direct relationship to why he made the decision that he wanted to feature this story. I don't know why nonsense
are horrifying. Stalking situations, domestic violence is a horrific situation that many have to go through, women and men. But to even attempt to compare this is disingenuous and emotional manipulation, because it's nothing of the sort. Sophia, thank you so much for the support. I thankfully don't have a headache right now, but probably at the end of
this girl
with orders of protection laying right next to the victim in New Jersey. There was one. She got an order of protection against her ex, and she tried to get a concealed carry permit from the state of New Jersey. They refused her, and he shot and killed her in her driveway. But like I said, with this day and age, with the internet, though, this is just beyond one person. One person may start.
Oh, and that's another thing I got in those 9 hours was that she told the victims that she has helped. She made sure to leverage that. I've supported a lot of victims and done a lot of good for victims. She also mentioned her sub count, things of that nature.
Why is
she
that
leveraged that support though and kept them in line.
Okay. And then all these haters come out of the woodwork. Okay. And you never know what's going to trigger somebody to go beyond just words and do something fatal, physical action, and commit a heinous crime because they were inspired by what they were seeing published on the internet.
Did you get that question answered, Amy? Probably not, I'm assuming. I would love to hear the answer to that. Absolutely would love to hear it.
Correct. And you said it well, Ed. Back in the day, prior to the internet, you would go home and you'd get a reprieve from your loved ones, your family, your friends. In this day and age, it's there. You can't get away from it. Every time you open your phone up, there's notifications that come up and so forth. But listen, let's grab our good friend Lauren Matthias. Let's let her come in here and let's have a conversation about what she's experienced over the last several months. And I don't even know the exact timeline of how long this has been going on, but let's let her talk to our audience. We do share a lot of.
Tracy, from what I understand from looking at some of the court filings and things, there's a lot more to it, but we'll get into that more this week. There's a short time frame there that matters. The dates from Boise and the interaction that the alleged stalker was not at. She wasn't at that dinner. when the police were called to escort him over the street or to the other side of the street. But that actually plays a role in her getting the temporary order in Utah. Now, yeah.
Similar subscriber base. So a lot of our people follow her and vice versa. Lauren, thank you for coming here and thank you for taking the time out of your family life to come and talk to us about this.
Absolutely. Well, I first off just want to thank both of you for having me. Honestly, it was clearly very overwhelming to do. I never wanted to do it. I was clearly very emotional.
You produced it for days before. Again, your concern you stated was to stop them from being able to exploit your child's trauma. And then you put it out here yourself in a fully produced notes, everything, a full production, a full show. So stop saying that you didn't want to do this because nobody forced you to do this. You did
why
this. You
is
produced
it bad for her to have notes? Like, I have notes with everything I do. Every now and then I'm buying like a box full of spiral notebooks because I keep a running note. I keep a written tab of what I do every day. Why is that bad to have notes? I think that's smart to have notes. I don't know. That was weird.
The show. And there you are.
I felt like my hand had been forced and I didn't really know how to then appear back on YouTube, which is my work and what I do. And so I just want to first off do the Duty Ron channel for being just a safe space for me to like come back on and break the silence after that marathon. So thank you to my friends, Ed and Ron.
That's the Crime Con, Tracy. That's Crime Con. I'm talking about the Boise incident.
So I'm doing okay. I'm back home with my husband, John. We're okay. We feel good. I still feel very scared. I know that I feel like I took my power back, but I also I'm still into like what's next. You know, I
feel like I took my power back.
That a lot of people are now doing lives about my life and
asking for the proof in the actual, for somebody who does true crime stories, the fact that she misses how important this is, and this isn't something new here that she just started doing. Do you guys know more about her history? Do you guys understand who Lauren Matthias is and where she started? Does everybody understand that at a baseline? If not, I can pull a few things and show you a few things so you might have an understanding of where she actually has came from. Because I think that's important to understand too, is who is this person and what is she talking about? Because so much is getting muddied here in this crazy situation. Oh.
So I'm just hunkered down and with my family, very grateful to be with them. Gotcha. And grateful that you called and reached out. And for everyone, I guess I want to say too, like, thank you to everyone that's reached out, creators, gems, everyone. We are getting the emails. Thank you. We did a little private Patreon will be, and I'll be back on YouTube after this, but thank you for allowing me to have a place to just come back and say hi.
I don't know who is saying, somebody is running around and saying that because she put it on Patreon, we are not allowed to use that. And she just feels more comfortable behind a paywall. She actually says something to the effect of she feels more comfortable behind a paywall. I find that to be very odd. So that $5 protects you some way, shape or form. Huh? No, it doesn't. It's still in the public domain. Once it is put out there, we can use it and fair use it if we choose to.
I'm okay.
It takes time, Lauren. This is, bless you, Ed. This is not a normal thing. Like, look, we as law enforcement professionals, we're used to dealing with this. You know, I've responded to arguably thousands of domestic incident calls. Ed, same thing for him. But what we mentioned and what we can bring to this conversation is that the escalation of this and how this can spiral out of control. I want to just validate your fears. I want to say that, you know, as a mother, you as a mother, me as a father, and your husband, obviously, Dr. John as a dad, your first, you know, instinct is to protect your family and protect the vulnerable, your son. And
how is protecting her son coming on YouTube? And instead of following through with this protection order, she withdrew that and then decided to disclose documents.
Because Law and Crime put cameras in the courtroom, right? They got the approval to put the cameras in the courtroom. And the reason that they got that approval is because this is a channel that has 300,000 subscribers and gets 50,000 views per day, right? That they may look at her as a legit public figure. And also that she covers true crime. It's what she does. That's her thing. So I think that when Law and Crime made the request, I think the legal the attorney made the argument for media and said, look, this is someone who lives their life in the public domain. Here's the proof. Here's the channel. Here it all is. And I think the judge said, oh, yeah, I know her. She does true crime commentary. Fine, we'll put it out there. I don't think, now I'm just going by opinion. I don't have any reason to believe this or not believe this. It's just the way I see it. I don't think that they were going to like run a live stream. I don't think that they were going to put it out there in the same way that a court hearing is put out. Even Barry Morphew got protections for broadcasting, correct? So no, I'm not sure that they would do that. I think what they were wanting was, access to the hearing and then to be able to tell the story. A public figure, a notable person from YouTube is, being the victim of a crime. Yeah. And I honestly don't think that there were negative motivations by law and crime. I think they said, look, this is one of our own who's been allegedly the victim of a crime, and we're going to cover it. That's what I think. I also see Lauren's perspective from this because restraining orders are designed to keep you safe. If you have someone who's following you around and they're digging into every aspect of your life, which is what stalking is, it seems like giving, throwing gasoline on a fire to give a stalker the ability to look into the proceedings for a restraining order. So I see both sides of it, for sure. And I don't know why Lauren felt like the safer option was to drop the request so that there wouldn't be cameras recording what was happening, and then go live and tell her side of the story. We still ended up with a he said, she said. And I think that on social media, that just doesn't work. I don't think he said, she said work. But I do think that shining a light when someone is accusing you of lying, I do think that you tell the truth. You don't try to convince other people. You just tell the facts, and then you don't talk about it anymore. No matter what the other side does, you move on, you focus on the things you want to focus on, you tell the stories you want to tell, and you withdraw yourself as the focus of the reporting. That's the only way to manage these types of situations. When someone is obsessed with you, any step you take is going to get them excited and curl their toes. They want to see you crying. They want to see you angry. They want to see you upset. That's what they're wanting. They're not like you. They're not experiencing those same emotions you are. They're being rewarded by your angst. So you put your story out there, you let it be clear you're not hiding anything, and then you just shut up and focus on your own stuff. And the stalkers be damned. Let them do what they're going to do. They're enjoying it as long as they're getting feedback. Deny the feedback, they're going to go away and leave you alone because it's not fun anymore.
That aren't even publicly, or she says we're still private. I'm sorry, what? Okay, so a little history lesson on Lauren. So her maiden name is obviously Johnson. I can say this because it's all public. This is absolutely hers. Her website leads right to this page. Relationship coach, helping survivors of emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, and former reporter. Okay, so if you go down here, it has some of her interviews and things that she did, her family, when her and John met, cases that she covered, interviews, things of that nature.
That's
it's all right here.
What is that?
But here's one.
A memorial.
This is the one that her and Dr. John met through this case. Lauren Matthias is and where she started. Does everybody?
Your
The name is obviously Johnson. To this page, relationship coach, helping survivors of emotional abuse, narcissistic.
2008. So I was trying to find the date. So this background for her started nearly 20 years ago. I don't know, nonsense. I don't think people that are trying to hide something put out a history that's 20 years old. Maybe I'm wrong.
Narcissistic abuse and former reporter. Okay, so if you go down here, it has some of her.
See, yeah, that's the 16 years ago. 16 years. Wow.
Interviews and things that she
That's
did, her
crazy.
family, when her and John met, cases that she covered, interviews, things of that nature. It's all right here. But here's one.
A memorial.
This is the one that her and Dr. John met through this case.
To honor 13-year-old Olivia Schnacker, who died after.
Oh, maybe this is the wrong one. There's one of them that it's the guy. This is a different one, but this is kind of her, where she comes from.
Being hit by a car on Easter Sunday is left bare.
Olivia's mother drove by the memorial last night only to discover that the gifts and the memories that people left on the crosswalk where Olivia was hit were all gone. Lauren Johnson is live there at Ustick and Julian with much more. Lauren.
Dawn and Michelle, Mindy was shocked when she drove by here last night to find only.
See, I much prefer her eyebrows in this one. And again, I have to be petty and say something
She
about the
looks
eyebrows because
pretty.
eyebrows drive me nuts. It's just a thing. It always has been.
She looks
My-
pretty. Stop. She looks pretty.
I don't know.
So she started reporting for other places, but she was a relationship coach. That's how she got her start. She went from reporting to a relationship coach. You can go look at that website or that YouTube channel if you would like to. There's a bunch of other stuff up there. But she was a reporter, did some Boise stuff, and then her and Dr. John met. There's websites, everything, And back to this. This is where we are current time, but that's from 10 years ago and kind of who
Okay, I'm not gonna.
she was. Or
I have questions. I have a lot of questions to ask you.
And you're allowed to ask him. You want just to make it fair. If you ask a question that I don't want to answer, I'll say I don't want to answer it too. I'm a journalist.
Don't worry. If you hear sirens in the background, they're just coming to take me away. I'm just joking. There's probably an accident on the road or something out here. Sorry, it's loud.
Like I can handle questions, ask away. I'm sure a lot of people are curious. Go for it. And I have some questions for you too. As law enforcement, I'll have questions for you too. So I hope this isn't just be a conversation among friends.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple things I want to clear up. I think one of the big fair criticisms I've gotten, or questions that I've gotten, maybe not even a criticism, but a question is, I cover criminal cases. I cover people's pain. It is true. I try to.
Molly go lightly. Somebody said, "Oh my God, Becky's going to talk about this. Isn't she afraid of, these big YouTube?"
That is so. I don't think you can draw a parallel between Lauren Matthias and Molly Golightly. I don't think that's fair. My opinion only.
YouTubers coming for her. The first person I came and reviewed was Molly Golightly, and she had like 80,000 subs when I first started reviewing her. Their sub counts don't bother me. What bothers me is people weaponizing our justice system. I don't care what size of channel they are. If they're weaponizing our court systems and doing things like this that take attention and time away from victims and the seriousness of these situations away from victims, I'm going to say something about it. And that's what she's doing.
Do it ethically, but crime is pain. And I cover trials and criminal trials. What is different with mine being live streamed? And I think I want to explain that the reason that civil stalking injunctions are not live streamed would be the same reason, or even reported on would be the same reason that a child custody battle wouldn't be live streamed, or anything that has to do with really someone trying to escape an abuser, which is coercive control. You've got intimidation, coercive control, things that you can speak to, fears of escalation, fears of people that don't like me finding out. And
Okay, so coercive control. So I'm glad she brought that up, because you know how I was saying earlier that Christina on her TikTok and some of her YouTube stuff, that she says things like, just you wait, you're going to find out, I wouldn't be worried about me. I'd be worried about you. Okay. That is coercive control. You're being controlled with fear. And yet the person's not giving you information in terms of, well, what's the threat? What did I do? Like you're saying that I hurt you. In what behavior did I engage in that you found hurtful? I want to talk about it. Tell me what I did. You'll find out soon enough. You'll find out. That is actually a form of coercive control.
And every time she tries to clarify something, sorry, I'm going to listen to this again and there's going to be a lot of that, unfortunately, because a lot of this just, I feel like the logical side of my brain is mush at this point in time, because I'm like, that doesn't even add up. This doesn't make sense.
Are not live streamed would be the same reason, or even reported on would be the same reason that a child custody battle.
Right. They shouldn't be. There should be protections for victims in the courts for certain things, such as protection orders. But I didn't hear any of you speaking out when Bullhorn Betty and the Proudfoot and Bowersox, along with many other people that have accidentally been streamed in courts that they didn't feel comfortable in because of the genre that you are a part of, who demands for more insight. And you say it's transparency for the court process and justice for the victims when it's really not that. It's because you make a profit off of telling these stories and you want access to the courtroom. But then you don't want it to happen to yourself. Whatever.
Be live streamed or anything that has to do with really someone trying to escape an abuser, which is coercive control. You've got intimidation, coercive control, things that you can speak to, fears of escalation, fears of people that don't like me finding out, and it escalating, getting bigger and bigger to where it potentially becomes a more concerning, frightening situation. So the actual idea.
That's exactly what you did by doing this 9 hours.
And the reality, she's already in it, right? There is already a core group of people that includes other YouTube creators. Lori Hellis is an attorney, or a retired attorney, but she's an attorney. She has a YouTube channel that comments on legal issues, courtroom and such. And she is part of this group of young women. Whether Lauren and Dr. Matthias like it or not, they have a big target on them. They have a big target on them. And people that have fame, people that are considered public figures, they get special treatment. And one of the special treatments is this. If you are a famous person, then the people that are stalking you or hurting you or whatever, if you bring suit against them, they have to prove malice. But if you are a private person and your face is not out there, it is sufficient that they're simply following you. You can still... They can find themselves in legal jeopardy by simply following you as a not famous person. But when you're famous, they have to prove they want to harm you. They have to prove that. So this is one of the points I think that is important, and that is that Lauren claimed that she was a limited public figure, and that's sort of protective. But I think that's exactly backwards. I think you are, in fact, a public person, and the protection is prove that they have reason to want to hurt you. Because I fired her, and here's why I fired her, and now she's butthurt, right? You have to have a reason that person would come to hurt.
Not providing proof and answering logical questions and or doing your due diligence, you concocted and produced an entire story without any proof behind it or evidence to call people stalkers. You have amped up and weaponized your following to run around the internet and call these people stalkers and harassers. And there's no proof
of a civil.
Maybe they're not stalker. I mean, I don't know if they are or not. I'm not asserting that. But I do definitely think harasser might fit, right? Would harasser, maybe, I don't know. I think where they've got Christina specifically, I think where Christina has some real legal jeopardy is the fact that she slandered John Matthias intentionally. That is one area that I think if they were to go to court, I don't know that Christina would have any defense against that at all. This other stuff, like I said, you know, people are going to drive by your house. People are going to see you eating in a restaurant. Those things are going to happen. I wouldn't call 911. I just wouldn't. I don't know.
Stalking and Johnson being reported on, in my opinion, is just so unethical. I want to point out too, as a journalist, someone with a background, I would never cover such a thing. And on our channel, we would never cover such a thing, just like we wouldn't cover, you know, a child.
What? You would never you would never cover such a thing.
A child being hurt?
I guess. Oh, my mouth is going to shoot off tonight. Let me stop myself and hit this button.
Of custody battle. So I do want to explain that difference. And yes, though, I also want to humbly say, has it made me rethink even bigger how I'm going to cover crime in the future? Yes, we do try to be victim centered. We do try to be aware. We do try to be careful. And I will continue to do that, hidden to crime, and maybe even become better at it and more empathic. But I did want to explain that difference a little.
Well, that was the first trial she ever attended, was her own father's for security fraud. That's actually something I think we should look at too, is her own story of how she got into all of this. And we should probably talk about the Mormon stories with John Dehlin. Again, I like John Dehlin, but it seems very intentional of who she is using to keep her reputation intact or attempting to.
Wait a minute. Whoa. I gotta pull back on that. Okay. Do our parents have any reflection on our accomplishments and who we are when we're 40, 50, 60? I don't think so. I think we have to. So my dad, amazing guy. Amazing. I can't even tell you how amazing. Oh, world renowned, all around the world. In no way does his accomplishments in any way reflect on me that I'm a bad person or a good person or whatever. So I disagree with that because her dad did something that got him in legal trouble. I think he stole some kind of money or something. Maybe he was an investor or something. I don't think that means that she is a thief or dishonest. I just draw the line and say, absolutely not. No. No. I don't think that. I cannot imagine all of the childish reporting that law enforcement has to wade through with modern humanity. People are overly dramatic. It must be like mediating kindergarten. I would agree with you 100%. You feel stalked and harassed or fearful of ex-mods? Do nothing, as nonsense says. Don't call FBI like she did. Go on like you live in fairyland. Look, I don't care, stalking or not stalking. If somebody becomes obsessed with you, you should be uncomfortable. People that get obsessed to the point that they ignore their own life for the thrill of tearing you down, yep, they have a great potential to be dangerous. Yes. And I do think another aspect of this with Lauren, and again, I don't know what the real story is. I know one thing. Christina absolutely slandered John Matthias and tried to undermine confidence in him, and he's a rock star. That makes me very skeptical of the rest of Christina's story. If your story is so strong, if you and Lori Hellis are so certain that Lauren is this horrible, evil person, then why did you take time to invent a crisis where Dr. John Matthias is concerned? No, you are trying to hurt Lauren by hurting her family member. And you didn't give a damn that to do that, you were going to have to slander his actual profession and accomplishments. That makes me question your motivations. You didn't even have to involve him. You just could have focused on the terrible things that Lauren supposedly did to you. So right there, I was previously sort of leaning toward, well, Lauren put all this out, drawing attention to it. That doesn't look good. But after what I saw with the commentary on Dr. John, now I'm leaning this other direction. I'm like, wait a minute, why would you even need to do that if you were wronged? If your story is accurate, why would you even do that? So you know, I'm a little, yeah, but I'm still, hopefully I learned something valuable about Brittany J. I'm not standing in defense either way, other than John Matthias is exactly who he says he is, period. And the fact that you slandered him has left you open to what is very real legal jeopardy. So if this man wants to come for you, I know where I'm going to stand in that case. Now, I don't know what really, I don't really know what happened in the case of Lauren, but I know that when I watch Christina's videos, I keep getting this little voice in my head, narcissistic injury, vengeful. You hurt me, there's going to be hell to pay. I'm not going to stop until I hurt you. And my stalker, that's actually how it all got started with her, is she wasn't a good fit in the channel. And I took her wrench away quietly, no fanfare, did not draw attention to it. And there was hell to pay. Still going. So if you see rabid dog putting shit out, that's what it all comes back to. So, but yeah, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. There it is, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is, I think, a really interesting story. I know Lauren doesn't think it's a story; it's her life. She's living it. But I do think, considering as you know, creators, we've all had our fair share of people that get overly interested in what we're doing, and they manipulate and they lie about us, and it's very uncomfortable. We're left with decisions like, should I defend myself? Should I ignore it? And it gets really uncomfortable for certain. So I'm sure this story, this life-changing event that Lauren Matthias and John Matthias are living right now, I'm sure this isn't the last of it. I'm certain that there will be more to come. And I do have a lot of faith in Dr. John. I think he will use the legal system. He has to have attorneys on retainer. So he's getting good advice. And you've got to wonder if it wasn't their advice for Lauren to put everything on the record. We'll just see how it all turns out. But whomever is in the right, that's who I support. And as of now, I don't know which is in the right, other than 100%. John Matthias is exactly who he says he is. And you are in legal jeopardy after the live that you did about him. So you may be in big trouble. Okay. Thank you so much. Just Another Human. I appreciate you so much for your super chat. Truly, you're awesome. Okay. So I've got to go because I have got some real life stuff that I have to take care of. And I hope that everybody has a really wonderful day. See you later. Bye. Way low.
dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again. Honest living, a pursuit of peace, family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. Living each moment, giving truth from the heart. No deceptions woven, no false starts. It goes like a front porch swaying in the ocean breeze. Watching the sunset fade away with pink and blue ease. Teach the young ones right from wrong with care. Hold them close when the world's unfair. In this Gulf Coast life we find our way, building memories that never stray. Oh, rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we see. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. When the night falls quiet and stars shine bright, I thank the Lord for this humble light. For the flag that waves and the grace from above, filling our hearts with endless love. No riches compared to the peace we found in the tides we ride.